Blessings, good evening. We'll begin with some quiet meditation. So find a comfortable posture. Close your eyes, although you can meditate with your eyes open, but generally we recommend closing your eyes to minimize distraction from people and objects moving around you. And bring your attention to your own body as you're sitting where you are right now. And you might find that first that's difficult because all day your mind is going out, moving around, floating around as it were, moving or jumping from object to object. Now you're doing the opposite. You're bringing your attention inwards to know just one thing. So that may be the breath, or sometimes people recollect the Buddha and recite Buddho, or any of the other meditation objects. At the moment, your aim is just to train the mind to know one thing from moment to moment. To know the breath, for example, from moment to moment to moment. That means knowing the feeling or the sensation of the in-breath. So you can try picking it up at the tip of your nostrils. Take a deep in-breath just to find that sensation. You could also notice the breath at the center of your lungs, maybe with the movement of the lungs, or at your abdomen. The aim is to know the breath as it goes in and the breath as it goes out. Just to know one sensation, so you pick a point, a single point is good enough. And keep returning your mind to that point, or keep that one point with the movement or the sensation of the breath. Keep that in mind, don't forget it. And of course, as you do this, you will forget it. Our aim is to be mindful or keep in mind the breath. But because of the power of karmic conditioning, craving, and attachment, the mind might find the breath is too subtle or uninteresting and immediately jump off through the power of karma, jump to a memory or something you're planning or expecting, or just reacting to a sensation, another sensation elsewhere in the body, and so on. Maybe hear a sound. And it won't stay with this one object of mind. So the mind moves, as it were. And it's doing that all day long, moving from object to object, from thought to thought, to feeling, to memory. It seems like we actually have many minds. Sometimes the mind is happy, sometimes it's bored, sometimes it's feeling down, unhappy, negative. In fact, it's all the one mind. But the mind, because it's untrained, picks up different objects, which stimulates thinking and proliferating in different moods. But in order to understand the truth better, now we're training just to know one thing, the breath. to keep coming back to the breath, to calm the mind down, to stop the jumping from object to object in an uncontrollable way, and just to keep coming back to the breath. So physically, we have to learn to let go of the tendency to move around during the meditation, always wanting to move and scratch and itch and keep adjusting the posture endlessly. Some deliberate mindful movement is okay if you really need to, because you may have a strong pain or something and you need to adjust. But the endless moving around indicates that the mind is not yet settled and actually continues to unsettle the mind. So we have to learn how to ignore things as well, not to make that itch or that painful feeling or whatever it is important to the mind, just to know it but not react to it and not actually move physically if you can. Mentally the same. Thoughts will come up into your consciousness, but your aim is to just know the breath. Breath in, breath out, the full length of the breath, full length of the in-breath, full length of the out-breath. And everything else has to take second place. Sometimes you have to remind yourself to not give importance to all these thoughts and plans and ideas and images. They still come up, but you just remind yourself to be back with the breath, to let go. And some of them are very alluring, so without realizing, the next thought, the next idea pops into the mind, and already the mind has forgotten the breath and gone with the next thought. And that's the extent of the task or the challenge facing us. It's how not to get caught into the allure, the attraction of every thought, every issue, every image that comes up. To know, but not to get caught or lost into it. Our aim is to be with the breath, and everything else is less important, and you can allow yourself to let it go. So sometimes you remind yourself, verbally, remind yourself what you're doing and why. You want to bring your mind more under control by training it to know the breath. And this will actually, in the long run, bring us more peace and happiness. But it's a subtle peace. It's an acquired peace through training the mind in mindfulness and developing samadhi, one-pointedness. So if you haven't done that before, you may doubt and think, is that really going to be good? Will that be really be happiness? The only way to know is to practice, to keep practicing meditation and start experiencing for yourself the mind that is letting go of everything else and coming to know one thing. So the more you know the breath, the more you know your own mind, because you know exactly where it is with the breath. And that in itself will bring us some peace. There's less movement, the mind jumping from object to object, so it's not so tired. The mind settles down, so both body and mind will start to relax. And the mind gains some energy. It's now conserving energy rather than moving all over the place. It's now staying more in one place, so it becomes brighter, more energetic, happier, and ultimately more still. But this has to come through the presence of mindfulness, clear comprehension, effort. It's not something you can just wish for or hope for. We have to practice. So for the last part of this meditation, I'll stop talking and can just practice quietly for a little bit longer.